Is this the image that signals the collapse of the Brussels hierarchy? A silent chamber, a frozen audience, and the hurried, almost frantic exit of the most powerful woman in Europe. Just moments ago, the European Parliament in Strasbourg witnessed something never seen before. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, did not finish her address. She did not wait for applause. She did not stay for questions. Instead, she gathered her papers, her expression pale and unreadable, and walked out. What could possibly force the so-called Queen of Europe to abandon her own stage? The cameras captured everything, and yet the mainstream media is already scrambling to cut away. The mood inside the chamber shifted instantly, from routine bureaucratic boredom to open panic. This was not a medical emergency. It was not a security threat. It was something far more damaging. It was a single document, a specific set of figures placed on the podium by none other than Viktor Orbán. Why was the Hungarian Prime Minister smiling as the Commission President retreated? What did he know that was so explosive it couldn't be answered with words, only with escape? This was more than political theater. This was fear. This looked like a cover-up collapsing in real time. For years, there have been whispers of backroom agreements, unrecorded text messages, and billions of euros disappearing into the labyrinth of EU bureaucracy. But today, it appears the dam finally cracked. Did Orbán just pull the trigger on the biggest political takedown of the decade? Or is this the opening act of the end of the European Union as we know it? Stay with us, because what comes next isn't just a scandal, it's a reckoning. The precise figures, the hidden dates, and the betrayal that just shook the European Parliament are coming up next. To understand why Ursula von der Leyen fled, you need to rewind exactly 3 minutes before she stood up. The session began like any other, a routine debate on the 2026 budget framework. But Viktor Orbán, speaking as representative of the Hungarian presidency of the Council, didn't bring a speech. He brought a dossier. A thick black binder labeled simply, "The Shadow Budget." This was no accident. It was a calculated ambush. Orbán didn't raise his voice. He spoke with chilling calm. He addressed the presiding officer and cited Article 325 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union, the provision dealing with fraud against the Union's financial interests. Then he introduced what he called the ghost transaction, 4.2 billion euros. And then came the nuclear moment. Orbán held up a document dated September 14, 2025. It was not public. It was a leaked internal memo from the Budgetary Control Committee. "Madam President," Orbán said, locking eyes with von der Leyen, "can you explain to this House where the 4.2 billion euros allocated to the Emergency Energy Transition Fund actually went?" The chamber went completely silent. That money was supposed to support Eastern European infrastructure, but Orbán's data told a different story. He revealed a transaction trail, wire transfer ID EUX99-LUX, showing the funds were never sent to Warsaw or Budapest. Instead, they were routed through a subsidiary of a major consultancy firm registered in Delaware, with operational offices in Luxembourg. And then came the conflict of interest allegation. Orbán didn't stop with the money. He connected the dots. He alleged that the consultancy firm, Greenstrat Global, lists on its advisory board a name that sent a chill through the chamber. A close family connection to von der Leyen. The implication was direct and devastating. The Hungarian Prime Minister was accusing the President of the European Commission of channeling EU taxpayer money into a private entity tied to her own family, under the cover of green energy subsidies. This goes far beyond the Pfizergate SMS controversy. The scale here is an order of magnitude larger. This isn't mismanagement. This is an allegation of outright embezzlement. The response in the chamber was immediate and visceral. The right-wing bloc, members of Patriots for Europe and the AfD, began pounding their desks, demanding the session be suspended. The Greens and Liberals, normally Ursula von der Leyen's staunchest defenders, were paralyzed. Gahoftat was frantically checking his phone. Not a single MEP rose to her defense. When the moderator handed the microphone to von der Leyen for a rebuttal, her hands trembled. She leaned forward, stammered a reference to procedural irregularities, and then froze. She realized she could neither deny nor admit the document. To deny it would be perjury. To admit it would be political suicide. That's when protocol collapsed. Security moved closer. Instead of addressing the 4.2 billion euro question, von der Leyen signaled to her chief of staff, Buren Seibert. Together, they gathered their files. The microphone captured only the sound of shuffling papers and a hurried whisper. "Not here. Get me out." As she exited, shouts from the opposition benches erupted. "Resign! Resign!" The echoes rattled through the Strasbourg chamber. Orbán claims this is only file number 1. He says he holds 15 terabytes of encrypted data from a whistleblower inside the Blemont building. It reportedly includes secret dates of covert negotiations with Kiev and unapproved weapons contracts signed without parliamentary oversight. The European Public Prosecutor's Office may soon step in. Chief Prosecutor Laura Kadar-Kvesi has reportedly received a copy of the dossier. If a formal investigation opens, von der Leyen loses immunity. This is no longer political theater. It's a crime scene. The Commission is under lockdown, press briefings canceled. The euro immediately dipped 0.8% against the dollar. Markets already sense what politicians are trying to hide. The leadership of Europe is compromised. Hours have passed since von der Leyen walked out. Official European Commission channels remain silent. No statements, no denials, no explanations. In high-stakes politics, silence isn't golden. It's confession. If Orbán's documents were false, furious rebuttals would have arrived within minutes. Instead, there is a vacuum. The system teeters on the edge. This goes beyond one woman or one account. If allegations of a 4.2 billion euro diversion are true, the EU's foundation fractures. How can member states like Germany, France, or Italy justify austerity and tax hikes while leadership in Brussels may be siphoning funds into offshore accounts? We are staring at a constitutional crisis. If the Commission president is forced to resign, the entire College of Commissioners may fall. Legislative processes freeze. Aid to Ukraine stops. The Green Deal halts. Mainstream outlets barely mention the Strasbourg walkout. Weather, local sports, anything but this story. Why? Because they fear what comes next. They fear the populist wave, led by figures like Orbán and amplified by Trump's returning influence, has uncovered the smoking gun that shatters the globalist narrative. The ultimate questions are: first, is this the end of Ursula von der Leyen? Can she survive a scandal of this magnitude, or will she be sacrificed to protect EU institutions? Second, who is the real villain? Is Orbán a disruptor seeking to destroy European unity, or the only whistleblower brave enough to expose rot within the system? And third, where is the money? Was the 4.2 billion euros merely mismanaged, or has Europe just witnessed the greatest political theft of the modern era?